Hey guys, welcome back to Music Talk with John. Today I'll be going through some albums that I picked up recently, some new, some old, and a couple that, a couple in here that I was happy to finally get a copy of, and a couple that I've heard of the artist before, decided to give them a shot because, you know, again, I've mentioned in previous videos, if there's a record for 50 cents or $1 or something like that, I'm gonna pick it up and try it out. Unless it's something I just know I'm not gonna like, you know, I'll take a gamble on it. Some of these are newer things that I came across, discovered recently through other YouTube channels. Dylan at Noble Records, I always like to kind of give him throw out to him because he's really introduced me into some psych rock that I'm starting to enjoy, really starting to dig it. And it was kind of always right there for me. I never really ventured out. I just stayed safe with Pink Floyd, their psychedelic rock band, so I'm really glad that there's a lot of these different channels out there that talk about these different things, and then the light bulb goes off in your head and go, gee, I like that stuff. Why have I never checked it out or looked for it? So hang on there, and I'll show you some of the stuff that I've come across, and hold on, let's go. Okay, so like I was saying, there's these bands that I never really thought about checking out in the past, and it's interesting because I do like Pink Floyd. I always liked that Pink Floyd from like Wish You Were Here, Dark Side of the Moon, up that way. But then it was that earlier Pink Floyd stuff too, and a friend of mine was like really into that side of Pink Floyd. All those earlier Pink Floyd albums, that psychedelic feel to it, before they started kind of growing as a band and coming together more. I don't want to say pop, but they definitely were making more songs that were more structured and not so far out there. But anyway, I'm kind of going off. But this first band is a psychedelic rock band, and this is the 13th Floor Elevators. This is Easter Everywhere. Great psych album. I was fortunate to get a copy where it actually has a mono version of the album and a stereo version of the album. So very happy to have that. And actually I just realized, so your stereo version has a black center and your mono version has a white. So that's how you tell the difference, I guess. It's 180 gram vinyl. These things sound really good. They do a Dylan cover on here, Baby Blue. It sounds cool. I like what they did with it. They kind of make it their own. You know the Dylan song, but these guys make it their own, and I can really appreciate that. The album sleeves here looks like it's mostly the lyrics, so that's the inside of it. But just great psychedelic rock band. Hadn't heard about them. I forgot what their other album is. There's 13th Floor Elevators, a different album besides this one that I'm keeping an eye out for. There was a live one that I saw at the record store, and I checked the live out, and I didn't really get into that one so much. I think if I'm gonna get into these guys, it's gonna be mainly studio stuff, because there's just a sound, and I cannot get this back in here, so I'm just gonna leave it alone. I like the studio stuff. I like the production of their studio stuff. So the live thing just, didn't work for me. If you're a true 13th Floor Elevator fan, I'm sure it worked for you, but not so much for me. I think I'm gonna like their studio stuff. It's the inside of it here, the cool gatefold, and the backside. There's the guys doing their thing. I'm glad I was introduced to these guys from Dylan over there at Noble. Next one we have here is, so in my previous video you saw at Record Store Day I picked up more Hot Rocks with the Glow in the Dark albums, and I realized I didn't really have a good copy of the original Hot Rocks, so came across this at a good price recently, so I went for it. And I believe it has, it's on pretty clear vinyl. And this was kind of weird. I'm not sure what they were going for here, But if you can see here, it's like a little smoky thing coming up through the clear vinyl, if you can see that. Which is cool. I would expect that on the second album, but it didn't. It was just clear vinyl. So no big deal. I'm just not sure what if there was a design flaw or if that's what they were going for. I don't know. But this thing's just full of hits. This was the big seller for them, and I think that's what, I know that's what inspired the more Hot Rocks, which wasn't as strong as far as I'm concerned, but still a good album to get. Early Rolling Stone stuff. I think it's kind of like the leftovers after they put all their great stuff on here. So there's your front cover. And I think I've shown this to you before. I had a used copy of it, but I'm glad I got this one. Here's your gatefold. And the songs on this, I mean, Time Is On My Side, starting with that, but then Heart of Stone, Play With Fire, As Tears Go By, Get Off My Cloud, Mother's Little Helper, 19th Nervous Breakdown, Under My Thumb, Ruby Tuesday, Wild Horses, You Can't Always Get What You Want, Brown Sugar, Honky Tonk Women. So you can't, I mean, this is just the album to get, Hot Rocks. If you want to get into the Stones and you're thinking about it, that's the album. It's just everything great on there. So good Stones album, solid, perfect. Next group, kind of a sad story with these guys. I just was introduced to them recently from somebody at the record store that I frequent, and it's unfortunate because this is probably going to be it for them as far as albums, definitely for the lead singer. I'm still very new with these guys. 2020, Bastards of Soul, great album, just good sound, retro sound, but not light. It's got a hardiness to it, it's good. Couldn't tell you which song I like more than another off of this. But definitely check these guys out. If you want a good R&B kind of sound, these guys definitely have that. I like even just the album cover. It looks kind of retro, just very cool. And then in 2022, is that what I said? 2021. So this came out, a little bit more production to it. They stayed true to form, but you could tell they had a little more money to spend, so it worked. But this guy right here, lead singer, hope it's Daniel Ballas. Let me see. I want to get this guy right because it's unfortunate with him. No, it's not Daniel Ballas. Chadwick Murray. Unfortunately, they were, I don't know if they were finishing up the production when they got to the Corners album. But from what I read, and they're not disclosing exactly what it was, they're saying it wasn't COVID related, but he just wasn't feeling well. I think he was like in the studio or something. He's like, I'm not feeling great. And he went to the hospital and he ended up getting very sick and passing away in the hospital. And I think this is the one where I read in the same hospital, his wife or girlfriend, I don't know, gave birth to a child of his. So he, in the same hospital, so he never got to meet the child. It's a very sad story. And if you listen to these guys, you're just like, man, you know, loss of life. Obviously you think about that first. A man lost his life due to just a strange illness, it seemed like. But just to know there won't be another Bastards of Soul album is just kind of disappointing, you know. It's like knowing, you know, thinking about what Hendrix could have been. Not to compare the two, but it's kind of like the same idea, you know. Gee, I would have liked to know what else they would have done, where they would have gone after this, because they had two solid albums in my eyes. So, you know, it's a shame to know you're probably missing out on some really good music, and you know, it's unfortunate what happened with him. So anyway, if you haven't checked these guys out, definitely check out the two albums by Bastards of Soul. And they have a website that I was checking out. They had some rare pressings of vinyl in color, but I think they're out of print right now. But you can get copies of those two albums, so definitely check it out. Then we go into a cool one here that I've looked for and kind of kept my eye out for, and it just kind of popped up in front of me, and it was this one, the Beatles, Yesterday and Today. And I did my homework on it because, you know, I don't know if you know the story on this album, but the original album was the Butcher cover. This is called the Suitcase cover. So the butcher cover had the Beatles in like white lab coats almost, holding baby parts and dismembered, not babies, but baby dolls, and meat, like raw meat. So it didn't go over well, so they were like, you guys can't release that. Nope, not gonna work. But what they say is to look out for these, because what they did with the Butcher album is they took this picture that you see here and they pasted over top of it. So that's kind of what was going on with that. If you can find those are worth money, those are rare. So I did my homework, because it really looked to me like, if you see here, it almost looks like this thing was just pasted on the front of it. Like that. So I'm like, man, maybe I have a copy. But there's a few indicators that led me to understand that I don't have a copy of that, unfortunately. Big thing is, if you ever see one of these, right about and see, I keep thinking that I see something there and it's not, but right about in this area here, if you look at the Butcher cover album, this is where Ringo was, and he had a black shirt underneath the lab coat, and it's like a triangle. So you can pretty clearly see on the Butcher covers, Ringo's thing, his t-shirt there. And the other thing is here, there's a seal here, right there, and usually there is a number next to it, usually right here on this side of it. And this doesn't have it. So it's a good one to have, and it's kind of like a talking piece, so I wanted to have a copy of it. And I came across a really clean copy, not a pop on it, nothing, so I was happy to get it. And the songs on it are Drive My Car, I'm Only Sleeping, Nowhere Man, Dr. Robert, Yesterday, Act Naturally, Side 2, And Your Bird Can Sing, If I Needed Someone, We Can Work It Out, What Goes On, and Day Tripper. So it's a really good album, really good songs on here. So that's the history of that. And I'm glad to put it into my collection. It's definitely an older album. Not sure where it's from, but it has some age on it. So happy to have it in there to add to the collection. And let's see, what do we have? Two more. All right, so this guy, and I kind of knew I wasn't gonna like this guy, but I was like, let me give it a shot, because I've seen some videos of him recently, of him doing some live stuff, believe it or not, with the guy from House, the guy that played the House on the TV show. He's a really good like jazz blues musician and piano player. So Tom Jones played with him, and I was like, man, he does have a good voice, and he's very soulful. Where's this guy? You know, because the Tom Jones I know is that guy where everybody's throwing their panties at him on stage, and he was like just doing cheesy music, you know. You know, talking to a friend of mine, he's like, give him a shot, see what you think. I came across this album, it was like $1. So I'm like, all right, let's go for it. I do like it's not unusual. It's not a horrible song. It's kind of a good song. I'll say it's good. But after that, just cheesy for me. Just, I don't know. It just didn't work for me, especially, and maybe it's once you get to What's New Pussycat, I can't get past it. I'm just like, I don't know. Couldn't do it. So, album's in good shape. No scratches, no pops. I listened to the whole thing. I was keeping a very open mind with it, but I was being very honest with myself, and just realized that Tom Jones' greatest hits just not gonna make it into my killer no filler record collection. And I think what didn't help is the production on this, and it felt very 70s variety show feel, just that kind of production, and I kind of relate that to this, and just it's not working for me. But I know there's Tom Jones fans out there, so this will be out there, so keep an eye out for it if you're looking for Tom Jones, because it won't be here. Anyway, last one I have here is classic American album, Don McLean, American Pie. Okay, and of course it has, I'm surprised they fit any other songs on side one with American Pie, because that's a really long song. It doesn't take up that much space, but album's in good shape. No skips, a couple pops, some dust got in there, caused some pops. But the album itself just really isn't working for me. I do like American Pie, and his other big hit off here I kind of find boring. It's Vincent. I know a lot of people like it. Starry, Starry Night. It's, you know, a romantic song, but just doesn't do it for me. I don't know if it's his voice or what, but you know, just didn't really work for me. So I gave it a shot, gave it a spin, but yeah, fortunately just didn't get into it, but I figured I'd give it a shot. It is a cool album cover. So if it had skips and issues like that, I would probably just keep it for the album cover, but since it plays well, you know, I'm gonna put it back out there in circulation so somebody can get a hold of it that wants it. I don't know if it's a really rare album or not. I don't know if it sold a lot. I know the song was popular, but I don't know if the album sold. So anyway, that's what I have. Thank you for watching once again, and definitely hit that subscribe button, support my channel. I really appreciate it. Hit a comment. More people have been commenting lately, and I love it. I'm starting to get some good conversation going on. They'll ask me a question, I'll kind of ask them a question, and I learn about other people's taste, and everybody's really nice out there and kind. I love this vinyl community. Everybody's cool. We're in this for the music and the love of the music. Nobody's right or wrong. It's all about taste. So anyway, please hit that subscribe button. Keep me going. Hit that like button. And definitely comment below, and I appreciate you watching, and you guys take care out there, all right? Bye.